I'm sitting here with Tocvan CEO Derek Wood. First of all, congratulations to the Tocvan team and your shareholders. Your company is one of the best performing junior stocks this year. How do you feel about that?
Fantastic. I think it's a great testament to the work that the exploration team has done in de-risking the property. I'm very happy that the early stage shareholders have been well rewarded, but also extremely pleased that we have so much upside that we've unearthed for the go-forward plan from now.
It's very rare to see a junior gold company with only 28 million shares issued and outstanding, and at the same time having completed 2 drill programs at an advanced stage gold project. Please explain how you achieved this and why this matters in respect of creating shareholder value.
Absolutely. So it matters a great deal to us that early stage shareholders are rewarded. There's a tremendous amount of risk in mining, and I actually came from an era where a successful mining deal rewarded shareholders a great deal more than the average one today, even on a success. So we began the company with that in mind, and we've done everything we can to keep the shareholder as tightly held as possible and as few shares issued as possible for the benefit of shareholders. And how did we do that? Well, we did it firstly by not creating an enormous amount of inexpensive shares to the inside group and the people that were close to us from the onset. And we picked great properties. We were fortunate that we went public and were able to do property acquisitions at a time when the mining market wasn't really in vogue. And we got great assets, and we assembled a team that was able to de-risk those assets so far tremendously. So we're able to do financings at increased valuations as we de-risk the right now our main project, Pilar, and is something we're very proud of, that we've been able to keep the share float as tightly held as few shares outstanding as possible, and it's something we're going to continue to do on a go-forward basis.
Let's speak about Mexico. Your Pilar Gold Silver project is in Sonora, where most of the Mexican gold mines are located. Why is this a great place to develop exploration and mining projects, and how does Mexico differ from jurisdictions such as Canada?
Yeah, well, it's not all that dissimilar operating in Mexico versus Canada. There's some great service providers down there. They have 700 years of history in mining in Mexico. Canada's a little bit younger. There's some issues with tenure in Canada that have been resolved a little bit better in Mexico. Of course, the cost of labor can be a little bit less expensive. And there's some just so many great undeveloped resource properties down there. And we're really, really fortunate that we were able to move on this one, at a time when mining wasn't really in vogue. And since we've been down there, we've just met some great people, our drillers and our legal team, and we attend some of the conferences and that. But it's a great mining jurisdiction, especially Sonora, and we feel very comfortable operating down there.
Please tell us more about your team in Canada and Mexico. How important is it to have good connections in Mexico?
It's important to have some good connections in Mexico. We're doing business down there. It's really their country and their properties, and we're sort of visitors down there. And, I think the first part of your question was, what's the team like in Canada? Well, it's a great team. We all contribute our own individual ways. Brody Sutherland and I started the company. He's the VP Exploration now. He's a geologist that's worked all over the world. So he's got, a lot of experience in dealing in different countries and different cultures and whatnot. Since we've been down there, we've added Rodrigo Callas as the VP Exploration Manager. And Rodrigo is a Mexican national, and he's actually worked in the mining industry in Mexico for over 30 years with majors. And how important is that? Well, really important, because he knows the lay of the land down there. He has been instrumental. We recently announced a new acquisition, the El Piacho property, and I don't think we would have been able to complete that transaction without the help of some of the locals that we got to know down in Mexico.
You've had lots of previous success. What is your financing requirements for short-term and long-term?
We have had some good success lately, and we've actually had some unsolicited calls from people interested in financing the company. It's been a really challenging year with the COVID and whatnot. It's been hard to get in front of people and explain to them how we're de-risking this and just what we think we have here. Because what we think we have here is the opportunity for near-term production. But again, we want to do that, getting back to your earlier question, with as little dilution as possible. So it's not just important to us to get the financing, it's to get the financing with the right partners that buy into our longer term vision. We think with probably about $5 million now, we could get the flagship Pilar property all the way through a bulk sampling and hopefully then be able to obtain production financing. So in the short term, in order to complete our option earn-in on the flagship property, and that would give us 100% interest in it, and also complete a bulk sampling, we're estimating we need about $5 million. Going forward from there, then we will have to look at some production financing. But if we can do that with the right partners and the right structure, again, we can do it with as few shares outstanding as possible and reward all the shareholders as best we can.
One of your neighbors is Minera Alamos and Santana Gold Project, some 50 kilometers east of Pilar. Without having released a maiden resource estimate, Minera Alamos has attracted Asseco Gold Royalties as a strategic partner to bring Santana into production in record time. That is to say, only with good drill results and a bulk sample. After 2 or 3 years of drilling and bulk sampling at Santana, mine construction is almost completed now and expected to pour the first gold bars soon. How does Santana compare to Pilar, and do you think that you can also attract a major soon to finance a mine at Pilar?
There's sort of the template of where we want to get to, honestly. I think we will get there. So the Santana Gold Project, they were able to get the project financing from Asseco Gold Royalties without a preliminary economic assessment or a resource estimate. And that's something new, I think, in this mining market right now. Again, it goes back to trying to advance the project with as little dilution as possible. We go on and on all day about 43-101 resources and the compliant nature of preliminary economic assessments and whatnot. The people in the know that, can see the drilling and sit down with geologists and decide if something is economic or not. I think now on a project of this size, don't really require, as compliant a resource or a preliminary economic assessment. We're not as advanced as Minera Alamos was, and a great team they have over there. They've done a fantastic job, and we have the same team. We think we can execute. The projects are very similar in size. Very similar in grades. They're both oxide deposits at surface. We really are confident we have an oxide deposit at surface. We don't know how big it is yet, so we're not really ready for bulk sampling. But we firmly believe when we get through the bulk sample portion of this program, we'll also be successful at obtaining production financing through somebody similar to, maybe Asseco Royalties, maybe it's similar to them. One thing that's happened in the mining market over the last just few years is there are a lot more royalty companies that are looking to finance this size and scope of property into production. And we think we're right in the running.
Your phase 2 drilling program has been completed recently. Some assays have already been released and some are still pending. Please explain the results obtained to date and why you are looking forward to the pending results.
Phase 2 drilling was about 3,500 meters. It was 20 holes. We released the first batch in the middle of June and the latest batch in, I think on July 8th, just fairly recently. Both of them were step outs from the area of known mineralization. So before Tocvan acquired the option to earn into this property, there had been, over 17,000 meters of drilling done. And when we looked at it, we were pretty confident that there was an open pitable economic resource. The results from the first news release back in the middle of June, we stepped out 100 meters from the known area of mineralization, and we hit economic grade. So we've made the size and scope of it bigger there. And then in just recently, about a week ago, we announced results, and again, we stepped out 100 meters, but in a different direction. And again, we hit economic grade. So now we have to sort of work to delineate this and everything, but the size and scope of the resources become much bigger. And now we have some more assays pending, but this is from areas of the property further away from the main zone that have never even received drilling before. Yet we've done a lot of analysis. The exploration manager, VP exploration, Brody and Rodrigo are pretty confident and pretty excited about the targets they have. So we'll see. But either way, we've made the size and scope of the main zone, we call it, all the bigger as we move towards this bulk sample. So we're pretty excited.
These drill results compare well with the average grades from Minera Lamos and also with the Colorado open pit mine from Agronaut, some 80 kilometers northwest of Pilar. What are the next steps for Pilar, and are you already planning for phase 3 drill program?
Well, we're planning it that we've been permitted for it, and we not only drilling but also this time trenching, and we're going to have to go back and carefully look and analyze the results that we've already released as well as the pending results before we come up with the stage 3 program. I mentioned to you that we stepped out 100 meters in 2 different directions and we're successful in hitting some economic grade there. What we're going to need to further delineate these epithermals aren't just like flat. We have to figure out the shape and size and scope of them and analyze the data that we've had. But that's what we'll be doing. We'll be continuing to further define the resource, but there's also other targets outside this main zone where all the historic drilling has taken place. And I think we want to see some drilling there as well. I'm not the geologist, I'm the CEO, but I speak, every day to the geologists. We're going to have some great targets and it's going to be an exciting time. We kind of have to pause a little bit right now because it's a rainy season in Mexico, starting in August in this portion of Mexico. But we're really excited to get started again in the fall. From the trenching that we've been permitted from, we do expect to get about 3,000, 3,500 tons to complete what we call a mini bulk sample. And that'll go a long way towards understanding even better than we do now the metallurgy of the ore. And this is all part of getting towards this bulk sample. And when we complete that, that's when we think maybe we can really, really demonstrate this as a production story and get the financing we need to make that dream a reality.
In June, Tocvan acquired a second project in Sonora called El Piacho. Please explain the reasoning for having another gold project in the region and why your team believes El Piacho has potential to create value for the company and its shareholders.
When we started Tocvan, it was coming out of a really difficult mining market, maybe one of the worst ones anybody's ever seen. And now we appear to be heading into a great one. But the company that we optioned El Piacho from, or we acquired the option from them, they're what I like to call property rich and cash poor. They're great people. They had a deal in there. There'd been a lot of early stage geophysics work on the property. We got the opportunity and we wanted to go forward with it. We're very fortunate again that we have a Rodrigo Callas in Mexico that was able to help us, push the deal forward. It's right beside the San Francisco mine, which is a 3 million ounce stated resource. It's just about drill target ready. I think the VP exploration, Brody and Rodrigo, want to do a little bit more, ground-based geophysics before they start drilling it. But it's an elephant hunt country, and it's right on trend with some other big discoveries. Again, we're afforded the opportunity to increase our portfolio because we don't have a lot of shares outstanding. And the company that we optioned it from, we're impressed with what we were doing at Pilar, and they wanted to present it to us because there's some upside in it for them as well if they're successful. So we've made great partners. When will we get drilling it, I think was part of your question. And that'll sort of depend on financing and how the rounded geophysics goes and how those targets look. But the nice thing about this option agreement that we did is we have flexibility. We don't have to drill it right away. We want to drill it, but it's not going to take away from the focus, which is the flagship Pilar, to create the cash flow.
Your neighbor at Picacho is the San Francisco gold mine with measured and indicated resources averaging 0.45 grams per ton of gold. Such grades are generally considered low grade, but why is Mexico the perfect place to mine such deposits with high margins?
Well, Mexico is a great place for mining. I mean, and Sonora in particular has is the highest gold production state in Mexico. There's a lot of reasons for it, but I think the main one is just there's a lot of the costs associated with putting a mine to production tend to be a lot lower than other parts of the world, and Canada tends to be a little higher than a lot of the world. So that's the short answer.
Let's speak about bulk sampling in Pilar. Minera Lamos did a 50,000 ton bulk sample and recovered gold with grades of 0.65 grams per ton. What's the plan for Pilar in this respect, and are you ready to talk to other companies in respect of mining, processing, and financing such a large bulk sample? How much does it cost, and how long does it usually take to mine and process 50,000 tons of material?
Well, one of the reasons you do a bulk sample is to find out what the recoveries are in a mining type, setting. So, I won't know what the recoveries are until we've actually done the bulk sampling. We have had some talks with some early production stage companies in Mexico already. As far as the cost of it, you don't know what your recovery rates are going to be until you do the bulk sample. I think it takes like somewhere between 6 and 8 months to complete the bulk sample. But it begins with permitting, and we still have to delineate the open pittable resource before we can even apply for the bulk sampling. So you're looking at something that probably will happen in probably a little, we're hoping within the next year or so.
Derek, thank you so much for speaking with us today. It sounds like an amazing and exciting project that you're working on. Tell us why investors should invest in Tocvan.
Yeah, well, people looking to get exposure to the resource market, this is a pretty good pick, I think. Of course, the price of gold is doing tremendously well. Something I personally think will carry on. As far as the company goes, we've done a great job at managing our capital resources. We've de-risked the property greatly. We've done it all with minimal share dilution, just 28.6 million shares issued and outstanding. Now that COVID sort of seems to be coming, at least becoming a little more manageable, we think we've got a great network of investors right across the world, really, and we're going to get out and start telling the story a little bit louder so people understand the value proposition here. And we're going to have a lot more exciting news coming out. We've got a great team of guys, both on the exploration side and the capital market side. And we think that we can create like a mid-tier, great cash flowing company here in the short and longer term. So I'm really, really pleased of how things have been going so far, but I think we're just getting started.